Well, we're one day out from the Caulfield Cup, and who better to chat all things Australian racing than Jayne Ivil. And Jayne, the feature race, the Caulfield Cup, 2,400 metres. It's a very even and tricky field, isn't it?
It's a really tricky field. You've got form lines coming in from everywhere. We've got the Kiwi contingents, we've got the Australian trained, we've got the Japanese, and of course the European. So a really tough race to assess. There's a couple of nice horses going around who the market suggested the ones to beat in the Kingsville Dream and Young Star. Both had terrific preparations building into the race, but of course we always like to see the Kiwis win, don't we, Emily?
We sure do. And of those Kiwis, we've got Jon Snow, of course, probably at the forefront of people's minds. He's honest, he's genuine, but does he have that class?
I think on a rain-affected track, yes, he comes right into this. You're right about the fact that he tries. He's going to give you a run for your money no matter what. I think his run in the Mackay Diva was very good. I think maybe a question mark in the Turnbull. The rain hasn't come that he needed. It is going to rain overnight here, so fingers crossed we get a massive downpour, because I think that'll bring him into contention. But he looks absolutely magnificent, and I know you've seen him in the last couple of days, Emily. I don't think the team could have him in any better order for the big race on Saturday.
Night's Watch is another one with the NZ beside its name. How do you rate its chances? It's been going well, but again, with that draw, does that put it out of contention?
The draw makes it really hard from Ben Allen riding in superb form. We'll have to pull out a pretty special ride on him. He'll get a little bit out of his ground, I would imagine, but he's a horse that's just developed so well in his last couple of seasons that I think there's a big race in him somewhere. I'm not sure if it's tomorrow in the Caulfield Cup, but he's one you've got to keep an eye on.
And if we had to pick one other from the Caulfield Cup that maybe stands out for you, perhaps backing up from the Caulfield Stakes, what would it be?
I really like the Cliffs of Moher. I think the team have targeted the Caulfield Cup as their race. He backs up very well. We saw that at Royal Ascot, and his second up record is superb. So he was very eye-catching last Saturday. He's one that I'll be keeping a close eye on.
And of course, not only Jon Snow, Night's Watch on the card to look forward to, but we've got the likes of Rubira, Very Elegant, Sir Charles Road. Let's just have a little chat about those fillies. Very Elegant, she had her first start here in Australia in the Edward Manifold, and wow, that was an unlucky run. Can we expect better this time?
Unlucky, but she's very green, and I think it's fair to say if you go back and look at her runs in New Zealand, she wasn't really taught much in her early racing, so she's a horse that's a little bit new and got a little bit to learn. But considering that, the run that she had in the Edward Manifold really puts her into contention. She's been heavily backed in Australia. She's only a slight filly, but talking to the team during the week, they've said she's actually done really, really well since that first up run in Australia, so they're expecting a big performance from her.
Rubira is Australian bred but New Zealand trained from the Baker Forsman team, and she's another one who maybe was a little bit luckless in the run and just seems to be improving with every start.
I agree, she was a little bit luckless in the run. She's going to love the 2,000 metres on Saturday. She probably wanted a little bit of give in the track as well. I think she's going to have to run a PB to feature in this race.
And then finally we've got Sir Charles Road as well. We know what a classy stayer he is from Sydney Autumn. How do you rate his chances?
I thought he looked fantastic when we saw him first up here in the Naturalism, but that form is yet to really stack up here. He's also had a spiked temperature since that run, so he's 4 weeks between races, so it always makes you a little bit weary with them, but I don't think it's a field with a lot of depth, so he does still get his chance, and I've heard from the stable during the week that they're really happy with him. Even field, you've got Prized Icon, who, you know, at his best would win, but there's some question marks over whether he's still trying. Trap for Fools, I think he can dictate terms. He's the one I'd be a little bit wary of in this field, and Best of Days, who Sir Charles Road has to give a little bit of weight to, and he's a little bit of an up-and-comer.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk all things Caulfield Cup. We've just touched on a few. There's some great racing on the programme, 10 races. Jayne and I will be on course on Saturday. Look forward to seeing you there.